The first checkpoint, it was the dead of night. We found the little trail piece. I mean, we've never been so relieved after our leg were literally cramping. You know it's bad when the strongest person in our group, a literal bodybuilder, literally died.
Are you talking about me, Socks? Yeah, you're talking about me.
All right.
Must be talking about you,
Get him out of here.
Why did y'all even hike again?
Oh, we did it for a video.
Was it fun?
No, this was not fun. We made it to the first part of the trail, which I guess we were in quotations excited because we made it. But after what just happened, I don't know if we were looking forward to it. The original plan was to hike up at least a little bit the first day, but it was already past midnight and we were already exhausted. So we had to make camp right in front of where the trail started. This is the first time I went camping, or should I say all of us. Why is setting up a tent so complicated? All right. After an hour of just wrestling with nylon and rope and fighting some tears, I ended up with a deflated bouncy house. Okay. I barely even fit inside. It was so tiny.
So me all the time.
You're telling me 2 grown men cannot set up a tent?
Ali, we had 4 grown men. I didn't even set up my own tent, all right? I had someone else help me, all right? Because I'm not doing all that. I was grumpy, I was tired, and I was exhausted, all right?
I would just use my tent materials as a blanket.
Yeah, until your freaking bear eats you alive.
You know what I would do?
Shut up. No one cares, dude.
No, I would do that. I am the survival guy. Listen to me, dude. I could craft a spear with 2 sticks, 1 rope.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You would build an entire castle from scratch.
See, he knows. I got the blueprints in my head.
I'm gonna build the queen of grave, too.
I'm gonna push you down this mountain that way.
Oof sets up his tent and dies. Okay. He sets it up by himself, right? And then just crashes for the night.
I was asleep. I was gone. I did not.
Like the first 5 minutes, he's already asleep.
After an hour or so, if not 2, we all set our tents up, and none of us had dinner because guess what? We forgot our pots and pans, so we couldn't even cook anything.
All right, what made our bag so heavy then? What were we carrying then? If we didn't have our pots and pans, what were we carrying?
What do you mean, what were you carrying? You was there that way. What are you talking about?
I don't know what we were carrying. All right, we had no pots and pans. We couldn't cook food. What was so heavy in those bags? What did Socks have us carry?
Why do you need pots and pans? Just cook it on the floor.
We just had Cliff Bars and fruits that were dried up.
You brought fruits? That is the worst thing you can bring.
No, it was dried fruit.
Fruits that can rot in a day.
Dried fruits. They don't go bad. They last like 20 years.
Yeah, but what did you have to cook?
We brought like MRI food that you can like heat up and like, cook. It's like the army people use.
You can eat it without cooking it.
Nope. Not the ones we got. It said you must cook.
Why would you listen to that?
Be a man, eat it without cooking it.
So, we all set up our tents. We ate some Cliff Bars. We were fine, right? I got inside. Honestly, every bug in existence decides to be as noisy as possible. Horrible neighbors. Here's the thing. It's not really comfortable to sleep either. I don't know if you guys spent any time under the stars recently. You're basically laying on a thin sleeping bag on top of a pile of rock, and you call it a tent. We settled down. We're going to fall asleep. We're going to get ready for the next day. Or at least I thought. I heard some rustling.
Was it Brian back alive again?
No, we have already lost one man. He is down. He is dead, okay? You're in the woods, right? So it could be a bunny. It could be a squirrel.
Could be a bear.
I started hearing growling. It's my first time camping, and I'm about to get eaten by a bear. Bears have insane noses, okay? They can smell food from even inside the wrappers. We knew this beforehand, so we threw all our food in a tree, like far away from where the camp was. But oof, since he fell asleep right away, bro, his whole bag was filled with food, okay? His whole bag was filled with them, okay?
He's keeping all the food for himself.
We didn't know this till the next day. So all I thought was like, oh, did we leave some food somewhere? Like, is there a Cliff Bar or something in my pocket or something? Am I seriously gonna get eaten alive because some spare Snickers bar I forgot to like take out of my pocket? I woke up the camera crew. I was like, get up. If I die, at least record it. Get the content, okay? There's a bear. There's a bear. Carson, our cameraman, he woke up. He started to panic. And the thing is, it's the dead of night. We don't have any lights. You don't see anything. We all started panicking, started talking. We were like, making noises and stuff like this. We just waited to see if something were to happen. But minute after minute, it was like, is that really growling? What is that noise? It just kept on happening, like every like 10 seconds. Like it was almost like a rhythm.
It was someone snoring.
It was that way. Bro was snoring, bro. Bro was snoring on the first night, and I thought it was a bear. You know how how loud this guy was snoring?
I didn't know 14-year-olds could snore. I thought you only developed snoring after the age of 50.
Bro, I'm Arab, okay? And I'm tired. Okay, of course I'm gonna snore.
He was on the other side of camp, okay? He was on the other side of me, and he was snoring so loud, I heard it from all the way to my
How
tent.
old is
Listen.
Madway again?
Oh, he slept like a log.
After a 9-mile bike ride, barely any food, I'm exhausted, all right? I want to sleep, all right? Leave me alone.
You're like 80 years old. What?
Leave me alone, man.
We went to bed and we woke up about 2 hours later because the thing is we had to keep a very tight schedule because we had a plane leaving already the next day. We couldn't like sleep in and take our time. No, we had to go and we were already behind schedule. We had a tough first night. We barely had any food. We had about 2 hours of sleep and now we were just starting the hike. It would be awesome to have like breakfast before, but no food. Why didn't they just put a McDonald's or a Mega Mall like right where the start of the hike would be? It would be so much better. So we were hoping to feel big and strong before to climb a mountain, but you know, no food. So we just started the hike. We were in the lower part of the mountain. It was a lot in the forest. It was kind of nice. And we had to cover about 3 miles, which was not bad, you know? Our second checkpoint was to reach a lake. It was super important for us to make it to the lake because the difficulty on the first day ride meant we have already gone through about 90% of our water. We were already out of water on the first part of the hike. So we had to make it to the lake.
I offered to drink Sox's pee, but he wouldn't let me.
We started this first hike and we were walking. It wasn't the fact the distance was too far. It was the elevation was bad. So when you do on the bike, that's like 10-15% elevation. This one is like inclined stairs. It's like worse stairs. You're just going up and up and up because you're literally climbing a mountain at this point. So we're crossing logs, we're crossing rocks, we're crossing streams. No, not streams. There was not streams.
I wish I could have crossed upon your stream, bro. I was thirsty, Sox.
We had to reach the lake. And at that point, if we reached the lake, I didn't even care how bad that water was. We just had to make it. So after about, I would say about 2-3 hours, we made it to the lake. We just had these purifying straws called life straws. And we went up to that lake.
Me next. Me next. Me next.
Sucking it.
How does it work?
It like filters it somehow. But the thing is, it's so slow. Like you have to suck so hard.
Oh my god, when do I get these?
Because it's good if you just want to get refreshed. But the hardest part is that how would you filter all that water and put it into your canteens?
You spit it.
Exactly. But you know how long that takes? You have these 2-3 liter water bags and you convert maybe 7 droplets of water a minute. We spent like an hour or two at the lake and I filled my water bag maybe like a third. Meanwhile, Oof and Nadway. Why are you guys so quiet, Oof? What were you guys doing at the lake?
I felt, okay, listen, we sat in a tent for a little bit, just chilling. Because the flies! There are so many bugs! They go me crazy, bro!
You're scared of bugs, Nedway?
Juice, I was enraged! Those bugs, man! I can't stand them! They just kept on landing on my face, my leg, my water. I can't handle it, Juice.
You stink so bad.
Here's what Sox is not telling you guys. This man's a little thirsty boy. He drank his entire water bag the first way up.
I'm trying to live.
I had like 3/4 of my water left, so I was like, I'm gonna relax while these silly gooses fill up on water that is literally toilet water, and I'll drink my nice bottled water.
Yeah, me and Oof sat in the tent, snuggled up next to each other, and started cuddling in the tent while they were hard working. But I decided I want to go pull water because I'm running out. And Sox is like, no, wait, you gotta pull water. You're not having any of mine. Okay, fine. I go pull water. I spent 30 minutes, but then one fly decided to land on my arm, and I go to swat it, and I drop my water. All of the clean water goes on the floor. I just gave up.
Remember what these guys say. We'll see who needs water in just another day. I told them they need water, and they're like, oh, nah, we're fine. I got it on camera. We couldn't stop here. Like I said, we were on a schedule. We had to do the second part of the hike. And this was to reach the 3rd checkpoint. And this was probably not the hardest part of the hike, but it was definitely harder than the 4th. So the 4th was the first part. The second part is more through the mountains. It was even more rigid and more kind of like elevated because it's not like hiking. You're like climbing on rocks and stuff. It's like you're actually in the mountains now. The thing about it is that we're so high up now, right? As we're going up and up, even the air, it's like hard to breathe. One, there was a fire like an hour away. So we were basically breathing in smoke 24/7.
You don't like smoke? I love breathing in smoke.
I love breathing in smoke.
And the other thing, it's like as you get higher up, it's just harder to breathe.
The air isn't airing.
We just had to keep going. We had to keep the pace. Okay, you have to imagine we're at 2 hours of sleep, basically no food, coming off a 9-mile bike ride, and we just did a 3-mile hike through the forest that we should have done the day before. How were we feeling at this point, Mr. Nadway Noof?
I was.
That's not good.
Oof was speed running. I was over here behind like.
We're trying to get to this third checkpoint, which is called Goats Flats. I don't know why they called it there. There was no goats there.
They're liars.
But we're trying to get there. Everyone is honestly dealing with their own ways of exhaustion. We have to take breaks. Some people are complaining. Some people are fighting. A lot of people were just getting angry. The person I was actually most impressed with, right? So Nadway the fact that he was doing this was crazy. But Oof never complained. But he did something I found very funny. About every 30 minutes, he was like a robot. He would take a 5-minute power nap. So he would go, no complaints, and then he would just shut off. His controller was disconnected. And it would be anywhere. Like we would be on the top of the mountain on the edge, and he would just collapse and just wait there for 5 minutes. He wouldn't respond to anyone. And then he would just get back up and he would be like, I'm good. And he goes for another 30 minutes, another hour.
Funniest thing is, the pictures we got of that, they're the sickest photos I've ever seen.
Just him being dead. He probably just passed out.
The ground was so comfortable.
When we get to the final part of the hike, this really interesting part happens with Oof. There was one part, usually he would respond to us like, But when we reached the near end of the hike, there was one part where we were screaming his name and literally there was no response. And we were afraid he was dead. And I was like, oh no, we killed one of them. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. After about 6 hours of hiking, we finally made it to our next campsite, okay? We reached the Goat Flats, okay? All of us, we basically collapsed. We threw whatever we could on the floor. We threw together a tent and we had to regroup. We were just sitting down. We were like, man, this sucks. Our legs were hurting. All our arms were ripped up because it's like when you're traveling like through the forest and rocks, the tree branches are ripping up your skin. There's bugs everyone was getting bit. One of our cameramen got like attacked by wasps, so his legs were like all bitten and covered.
That was me. Sorry.
Everyone was just uncomfortable. Now it was time for the hardest part of the hike. From Goat Flats to the final hut. This was another 3-mile stretch. Unfortunately, we had to temporarily say goodbye to one of our members of the elite task force, Nadway.
I'm leaving.
You guys are such whingers. Such a whingers.
What is that mean?
Whinging.
I didn't even remember 90% of the hike. I turned off my brain and I just kept on moving.
Wait, Nedway couldn't complete it?
Dude, because my legs, they literally could not move.
But where did you go? Did you just walk off?
I literally jumped off. I had to eat food for hours, or even days, drinking dirty swamp water. Listen, man, I had enough. I was tired.
These checkpoints are campsites. So when we set up our tent at the Goat Flats, that's where as soon as we set that up, we put Nadway in there and he just died in there. We had to leave him behind. He was sleeping already. But the rest of us, we still had a mission, okay? We had to reach the hut because we couldn't do it tomorrow. Because tomorrow we still had to go all the way back down. So we had to make it to the hut that day. 2 issues, right? Low on water. And 2, the sun was basically already dropping because it was about 7, 8 p.m. again because we were hiking all day. The rest of us, we started our journey for the final part of the hike. This part sucked, okay?
All of it sucked already. How bad could this be?
This part was not, I wouldn't even consider it hiking, okay? It was like a sort of trekking. We were going across the actual mountain parts. We were going down ropes down the mountain. We were on like the edge of the mountain at one point where we were on the side, and if you made one slip, you would just fall and die. The last parts, right? The uphill on this was crazy. Like the uphill was like a straight 90-degree angle. It was like crazy at some points. Like you're going up the final pieces of the mountain at this point. And just before that last point was a glacier. The thing about the glacier, we didn't have the shoes for it. We just have these hiking boots.
You should have worn Lightning McQueen Crocs. You would have got up there in 5 seconds.
It's just ice and snow. So I stole Oos one of his hiking sticks. We just started going. The glacier parts took so long that the sun, it went from sunlight to dark while we were climbing these glaciers. We were just stabbing into the snow and like pulling myself up. Stabbing the snow and pulling myself up. Every like 3 seconds, like you try to plan your feet, but you would just slip and fall. So it was like going up this glacier, just climbing. Ugh. I mean, Oof, how did you feel about the glacier part?
I personally felt like it wasn't too hard.
It wasn't maybe the climb that was too much. It was the fact that we were on the lack of food. So I think that's one thing. You can agree on that part, Oof, right?
I was eating fruit for the first time on that hike. I was eating bananas and pears and mangoes and peach. Like, it was disgusting.
Drawing us towards the hut is that hut would have our pans and pots. So